Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Craftavore Tastes, and today we are digging into a beer that just a short number of years ago was one of the absolute most hyped releases of the year, and that is none other than Bell's Brewery out of Kalamazoo and Comstock, Michigan. This is their Hopslam. Yeah, man, so Hopslam is a double IPA. Brewed with honey, coming in at around, I believe, 10% ABV. Yeah, exactly, 10% ABV. So yeah, just a short number of years ago, man. Hopslam was a super hyped release from Bell's. It was almost impossible to get. It was one of those beers that was just an absolute, insane, over the top kind of hype kind of surrounding it, and you were lucky if you got yourself a couple of cans. Fast forward here to now 2019, and I've seen Hopslam all over the place since its release in January. So, obviously a lot of that hype has kind of died down a little bit, and I think that's kind of a mixture of two different things, right? One, accessibility. It's a whole lot easier to be able to find and get multiples of Hopslam. Actually saw literally 12 packs for sale in a couple of places near me. And also, the style of IPA. This is kind of a big, brash, it's 10% ABV, so it's bordering like triple territory, but they call it a double IPA. But that big kind of brash, kind of malty, aggressive, high IBU, brewed with honey, sticky sweet IPA, which in the course of the last number of years, has kind of gone by the wayside in favor of your tropical juice bomb, right, New England style IPAs. All right, but I picked it up because it's an absolute classic, and I did want to review it, and I also have something a little special and slightly embarrassing to go along with this review. And as you can see, we're going to be reviewing the can version, so that's 2019, but we also have a bottle version here. And here's the embarrassing part. I was going through my cellar a couple of days ago, and I actually stumbled upon this Hopslam bottle sitting in the corner, and I had absolutely no idea that it was there. And I decided to take a look at the bottling date. And the bottling date on this is January 17th, 2014. Somehow, this bottle of Hopslam ended up in my cellar. Didn't realize it was there. And here we are 5 years later, man. Wow. So I thought it would be kind of fun, a little bit embarrassing, and potentially gross for me to go ahead and review the 2019 vintage of Hopslam that was canned on January 10th. So we're looking at just about 6 weeks old on this guy, and then dive into the 5-year-old Hopslam to see exactly what 5 years has done to that 10% double IPA. I'm assuming we're in barley wine territory, but we'll see exactly what happens. All right, so let's go dive straight into the first part of our review, which is the 2019 vintage of Hopslam. All right, so let's pop a top on this guy, take a look at the appearance, get the aroma, taste it, and of course, we're going to rate it. All right, pop a top. Go straight into that glass. And get straight up into that review. All right, so how does she look, man? So beer comes in, I would say, almost kind of like a deep kind of gold color, little bit of, potential hues of amber going on there, but it's not full amber. Like, I would actually call that kind of deep golden color. Got about a finger and a half of just kind of this really kind of nice, kind of viscous, kind of almost off-white kind of head going on there. Looks super awesome. It is, obviously, it's crystal clear. You got a little bit of chill haze kind of going on there, but it's generally crystal clear. Looks absolutely awesome. I can actually smell a little bit coming off the glass right now, so let's dive our nose into it and get an aroma. So very familiar from what I remember in Hopslam. So the first thing that I'm getting out of that is it's, about almost 6 weeks old. So, relatively somewhat fresh. You get booze off that nose, man. Like, that is a pretty serious and heavy boozy beer, just straight off from the nose. Mixed in, obviously, with a bit of caramel malt, and a bit of sweetness, right? That's being showcased not only from the malts, but I'm assuming the honey as well. I've known in previous vintages of Hopslam, and I've had it a little bit more fresh, that honey doesn't necessarily pop up to the front. It takes a little bit of time for that to develop a little bit, but there's definite a sweetness and a stickiness coming off of that nose. Yeah, mixed in with a little bit of kind of sweetbreads, maybe a little cracker, little caramel malt. As it relates to the hops, yeah, getting kind of a little bit of grassiness kind of going on there, but it's really mostly kind of malt, sticky, honey kind of dominant coming out of there. Super sweet. All right, smells really, really good. Let's go ahead and give her a taste. Cheers. Oof, my God. Oh. That's straight up booze, dude. Yeah, so first things first in the taste. There is a heavy appearance of alcohol or ethanol, or not ethanol, but alcohol when you first get that kind of taste. It's aggressive in that way. You definitely get hit with that just kind of, blast of alcohol when you first kind of taste that sip. So it's hot, man. And, at a 10% ABV, and again, the can being relatively somewhat fresh, I'm expecting that. But it's actually a bit more boozy than I remember in years past. It's settling in on the palate right now, and it is super kind of bitter. That bitterness is kind of lingering there. Toasted caramel malts kind of going on, a little bit of sticky sweetness from the honey. Go back in for another little bit. Yeah, and the beer actually, from a hop perspective, presents itself in kind of a bit of a spicy kind of way, too, which is interesting. What can I say? The beer kind of tastes what it is, right? It's a classic. There's a definite place for this particular beer in 2019. There's no question. These are beers that, pave the road for hype to some degree. And if you understand what you're getting yourself into, there's still a lot of love that I have for this beer. I'm a little bit taken aback by just the overall aggressiveness of the alcohol in it right now. I don't remember it being that prominent, but this damn thing's pretty darn boozy. And it's almost boozy to a degree where I almost kind of feel when you mix that booze and the bitterness in, it almost comes across as too much. But go back in for another taste, and then I'll kind of give just some overall kind of opinions, and of course we'll rate it. Yeah, definitely. There is a time and place for this beer. And full disclosure, I'll admit, about 3 weeks to a month ago, I actually had the 2019 vintage of Hopslam on draft at a local craft beer bar near me. And that I remember being actually a little bit more caramel and a little bit more mellow. This is a little bit more aggressive to the point where, yeah, it is brash in your face. It's kind of what it's meant to be. And so let's go ahead and give her a rating, man. I know that there's a lot of folks out there that kind of believe that Hopslam is probably just all hype, in the sense that the beer doesn't really kind of live up to the hype that it used to get. There's some truth to that. This is, again, it's a big, aggressive, kind of malty, kind of sweet double IPA, old school in that way. And again, there's a time and kind of place for it. But, is it the best, beer that I've had of this particular style, even from the old school ones? No, it's not. But it is what it says that it is, right? It is a big 10% aggressive, sweet forward double IPA. And so if that's your bag, you're going to like Hopslam. Rating time. I'll be honest, man. I'm going to vacillate between a 3.75 and a 4. Just for nostalgia's sake, now, you know what? It's a 4-cap beer. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say 3.75 caps. It's better than that. It's a 4-cap beer. There's no question about it. It is what it is. It is an absolute classic. It's a sipper to some degree. So, yeah, I can actually kind of see where, in some cases, I would kind of enjoy this in the middle of a session where I don't really need to worry about drinking a beer for like an hour because it's going to nuke my palate a bit. But yeah, 4 caps is kind of where I feel comfortable with the 2019 vintage of Bell's Hopslam. All right, one more taste here. Yeah, just to close it out. And now, let's get into the 2014 and see exactly what 5 years of time has done to this particular beer. All right, so I'm not expecting this experience to go very well. Oops. Let's pop a cap on this guy and see what time has done, man. It is going to be interesting. Let's pour this beer into the glass. And it'll actually be kind of funny. Maybe we just go like a little bit of side-by-side here. Oh, what's going on there? Jesus. Oh, yeah. All right, so let's do like a little bit of a side-by-side just really quickly here so even just you can kind of see what time has kind of done. So the beer, obviously here on the right-hand side, is the 2014, and it is full-on amber at this point. Yeah, you can completely see the kind of differences here of kind of what I assume to a degree oxidation has done to that beer. It has made it essentially completely full on kind of amber color. There was some head going on there that kind of, I don't know, did I hit? I don't think I hit the bottle, but that was kind of weird. You could totally kind of see just things kind of frothing out, which is scaring me a little bit. But all right, so yeah, my God. Head retention on this thing is kind of gone as well. Like, let's see if I just pour out a little bit more to see if there's anything that I was pouring in a little bit wrong to kind of see if there. Yeah, it just seems that even like kind of head retention is kind of struggling a little bit. That's really weird. All right, so let's dive our nose into it and see what we got from the 5-year-old Hopslam, man. Oh, dear God. Wow. Oh, so that's, yeah, like I expected. That's pure barley wine territory, dude. Oh, God. So it smells almost grotesquely sweet, sticky sweet. And it's a mixture of, oh, God, like candied dark fruits, raisins, oh, dates, things like that. Like, yeah, it's barley wine territory and almost kind of like, oh, like Belgian, like strong ale too, which is kind of interesting, man. Like, that's amazing how those flavor profiles, you know, has come, you know, or have developed in this particular beer. Definitely getting a bit of oxidation, but it's not as like gross wet cardboard as I thought it was going to be. There's definite oxidation there, no question. It's stale. Obviously, it's 5 years old for crying out loud, but it's not as much as I thought it was going to be. It's definitely more kind of transitioned itself to raisins, dates, dark fruits kind of deal. All right. Cheers. We'll see how this goes. Huh. So, wow. So as one would expect, again, in the taste, yeah, wow, that's crazy. So it is, again, raisins and dates, and like candied dark fruits. The amount of honey that is in that taste right now is crazy. Like, literally, it is coating my tongue to the point where it tastes like when you know, like the little bears that have like honey in them. It almost is as if I took like the little nozzle of the bear and just kind of went over my lips a little bit. That's how much that honey is riding to the top. And I'll tell you right now, the bitterness has calmed down. The booziness has completely calmed down. There's nothing really to be said about that. But there's a part of me that's kind of digging this, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, it is a, like I said, it is a raisin, it is a date, it is a dark fruit, honey-forward kind of barley wine. That's nuts because that's fucking drinkable. It really is. Obviously, it's a completely different beer. It's transformed itself, you know, into that more barley wine style, but I'll tell you, it's still got a little lingering bitterness there. That isn't as gross as I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to rate this for obvious reasons. This was more just kind of like a something to do fun for the review and the video, but that's kind of nuts, man. I always figured that Hopslam would age well. This wasn't meant to happen. But here you go. A 5-year-old bottle of Hopslam isn't too bad and has some interesting characteristics to it, all right? So if you're out there and you got a couple of extra cans or a couple of extra bottles, I don't even know if they're even still making Hopslam in bottle format, age one. See what happens, man. Open it in a year or two, or in my case, 5, and see exactly what happens to it. It's kind of fun to be able to put it side by side. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the Craftavore Taste. I'll hope you join me again for another episode where I drink, I review, I rate, and then I repeat. Cheers, guys.